like.
Oh, no, I'm saying everyone's ready.
Oh, okay.
You guys are ready, yeah?
Yep.
All right. So
Okay.
you like to introduce yourself first, and then they can start asking questions.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm David Yaust. I played Billy Cranston, the original Mighty Morphin Blue Power Ranger. The only blue Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Okay.
What did you think about like the evolution of your character from like the start of the series up to the end? Because you went from this nerdy, typical nerd character that we've seen in mainstream media, and then it seemed like your character kind of evolved visually and even as a character over time. Like, so what was your kind of feelings on seeing that evolution of the character?
Well, I mean, for me as an actor, I kind of steered Billy in that way, just because, in the beginning we were trying to do goofy stuff and play the nerdy kind of thing, stereotype, and I didn't want that. And early on in the scripts, I kept seeing, like none of Billy's friends could understand him. Trini always had to interpret for him, and so I, as an actor thinking on a person, like, wow, that would be kind of frustrating if my friends couldn't understand me and I had to bring my sidekick here every time, to translate what I was saying. So I just kind of really wanted Billy to start being more in depth, I guess, or have some depth. And so, I just started making a concerted effort to get him out of overalls, because I wore overalls for almost 60 episodes, so that's a lot of overalls to wear, you know what I'm saying? So just kind of trying to break the stereotype a little bit, and I just really wanted Billy to grow as a person, and so as an actor, I feel really honored to play Billy and proud to have played Billy, because he did get to grow so much over the course of his time on Power Rangers, and went from being really sort of shy and timid, not having a lot of confidence, and then as time went on, he really came into being a strong young man, and so I'm proud of that. Does that answer enough?
Oh no.
I can go more.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Question. So if things were different and you were actually chosen to be the Golden Ranger, how would you approach that role?
I don't know. I mean, I know the writers certainly teased that Billy was going to be the Gold Ranger, because there was a lot of hints towards that. I don't know how I would have played it. Obviously, it would have been cool for Billy to be the Gold Ranger. I think he certainly deserved it. He often got the Power Rangers out of a lot of predicaments because of his intellect and thinking of things and creating devices to help the team. So he certainly was deserving of being the Gold Ranger, but at the end of the day, I think the way that things ended for my character worked out perfect, because he went off into outer space and is living a life out there, traveling the universe. Yes, sir.
Being in spaces like this at any cons, predicated to Power Rangers, do you ever just kind of sit back and ever think, as you look around the room with some of your older coworkers and friends, that you will be at this point in your life?
Well, first of all, when you say older, are you calling me old?
Not at
No,
all.
I'm
Oh, skincare questions are coming next.
No, I mean, it's certainly a humbling experience on so many levels, because never in a million years could any of us have ever predicted that this show would have the impact that it does on so many people's lives. So for me, that's super humbling, and it's certainly an interesting phenomenon for the original cast to be going through, because when we started the show almost 30 years ago, we went through the audition process, at least Amy Jo, Austin, Walter, and myself, and we would go to lunch and we would work on our lines, and we would really, we took it so serious, and we really became really good friends, so that when we did go into the auditioning process, we looked like a cohesive group of friends. And so I think we had a lot of great chemistry right out of the gate, and that's what helped us get the role. There was 3 different casts, in case you guys didn't know. There's 3 casts. We go to network, and the network has the ultimate say. And none of those other casts were really spending the time together like we did. So I think that really helped us. We all brought our own skill set as martial artists or gymnasts or dancers and all that. So, but yeah, it's really an interesting experience to have started way back then, and then to sit at a con and see Walter and Austin and Amy Jo and Jason, David, Frank, kind of, you know, when I do see them at cons, just all sitting around and thinking like, has it really been this long? And why are we still here? Are we really still talking about this? So, but yeah, it's a huge, huge honor.
My question can actually kind of follow up from his. Do you have any particularly like funny or memorable stories from your time working on the show? Like, you know, just anything like a particularly funny moment or a memorable moment where you're just like, wow, that's something I'm going to remember forever. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Well,
A blooper or something like
yeah,
that, basically.
I mean, there's tons of like just funny moments. I mean, like with Amy Jo and I, she and I are like brother and sister, and so there were times where we'd just be filming and all we have to do is look at each other and we would just start laughing and, you know, break character, unfortunately. The producers don't like that because it wastes time and money, but sometimes you just get into a giggling fit because you're working 12 to 15-hour days. And Jason David Frank, I would say, was probably the biggest prankster on set. You know, looking back, I don't know that they were really pranks as much as they were just cruel. Just kidding. That's all I'm saying. But no, Jason David Frank was certainly the biggest prankster. But you know, just screwing up our lines, not purposely, just it happens, and tripping. You know, there's all kinds of things that went on that were funny. And I did like, I don't know at what point they started doing it, but they started including some of the bloopers at the end of every episode when they were doing the credits and all that. So I always thought that was fun. I don't know if it's fun for the audience, but it's fun for us as the actors because it's just like, oh yeah, that happened. Does that kind of answer your question? I know you're looking for a real specific, like...
Well, I was wondering if there was one that stuck out in your head as like a particular moment, but I mean...
Not really. I mean, there's just so many, I don't know. I mean, I think probably the funniest thing to me that I ever saw was actually Jason Narby and Paul Schreier, Bulk and Skull. Catherine Sutherland just had joined the cast, coming on as the new Pink Ranger, and I believe it was her first day on set. And when she got called to set to do a scene, and I don't know if it was the command center, but something. While she was gone, Bulk and Skull like took Paul and Jason took all of her furniture out of her dressing room, and so when she came back to her dressing room, she was like, what's going on? There's no furniture. And then she filmed another scene, and when she came back, they had just stolen furniture from all over the studio and just shoved it in her dressing room so she could barely get in. And, you know, that was their form of hazing her. But it was actually pretty funny. That was one of the more funny ones for me. Just, to me, that's like, I would never think to do that. And the fact that they thought, hey, this poor girl from Australia, here she is, they fly her from Australia, she has no friends, she doesn't know anybody, they have her staying in a hotel, and this is how they haze her. Are we already out of time? Go ahead.
I know we're here, you know, talking Power Rangers, but could you speak a little bit about your upcoming project, The Order?
I am not really involved with that anymore. It's been an ongoing thing for almost 5 years, I think, now. I actually am really disappointed in the producers of that. I think, you know, unfortunately, a lot of us staked our reputation on that film. I personally put my reputation for that producer for that film, and then they didn't follow through. So I'm a little concerned and a little disappointed, and you know, sorry for the fans. You know, so I hope that the producers of that make some kind of resolution with the fans.
That was a good segue. I noticed you've done like a lot of producing in shows like outside of Power Rangers. Like, what is that experience like? I mean, take kind of some of the experience that you did off of Power Rangers going into those kind of producing work.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about working on Power Rangers is we filmed way more intense than most TV shows or films film. And so we were shooting 4 episodes at a time. We were filming like 8 to 10 pages a day. And so we were in a very fast-paced situation. And so I just kind of always liked how our producers kind of had everything in order. And I really took a lot from watching them and what they did. And so when I moved into producing television, it helped me move up the ranks quite fast because I was kind of following their lead, sort of like a military guy. I don't know if that's good or not, but that's, you know, I like to run a tight ship, as they say. So yeah, it certainly helped me in many, many ways.
Would you enjoy doing that, kind of following that to like directing Oscar or something?
I don't know if I would ever direct. I mean, I think about it, but I really enjoy producing and I really enjoy acting. And those are sort of my two things. It is often natural for actors to become directors. And maybe. I mean, I directed a lot of plays in college, and so I made one of my stars cry. So I kind of hold back from directing because I don't know that I have the right finesse to help people get to where they need to be as an actor. So, I mean, and that takes a specific art. If you're really doing something where, the actors really need to be involved in their character. So, when you're just doing action films and stuff like that, that's not always necessary, but, so I kind of hold back from directing, I think because of that, because I made my star cry.
Anything you'd like to say to your fans or any last words?
Well, obviously, just thank you so much to all the fans of Power Rangers. It really, truly means the world to me. Without you, I would not be where I am, and I don't take that lightly. I'm super, super grateful that I'm still here 30 years later. I don't get tired of talking about it, even though I sound like I do sometimes, but the fact that it has such an impact on so many people's lives, and we get to hear those stories every day, whether it be through social media, somebody stopping me on the street, coming to Comic-Cons, wherever it is, every day somebody says, thank you for my childhood. And just knowing that I got to be a part of that and that somehow a character that I played helped influence people to be better people, that's such an honor and such a gift. So I'm truly grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you all.